Early marriage is a violation of children's human rights. Despite being prohibited by international law, it continues to rob millions of girls under 18 around the world of their childhood. Early marriage denies girls their right to make vital decisions about their sexual health and well-being. It forces them out of education and into a life of poor prospect with an increased risk of violence, abuse, ill health, or early death.
Hello, Miss.
Yeah, hello.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
Okay, do you agree with your marriage or not?
For me, I'm not agree with young marriage because young marriage there's a lot of disadvantage for the person. First of all, of course, we have a lack of knowledge about marriage because as we know, if we married, we need a lot of knowledge how to handle the marriage and so on. And then that's, I think, of course, if we married too early, we cannot enjoy ourselves. Every youth want to enjoy their teenage life. So if they married too early, of course they cannot enjoy with their friend and so on. And then the third reason why I'm not agree with young marriage, of course, about financial. As we know, after we finish study, of course we wanna work, and then of course we want to have our own money and spend for ourselves. And if we married too early, of course we must find a suitable job. How can we manage our family and so on. So that's why I'm not agree with young marriage.
Hello, do you agree with yearly marriage or not?
For me, yes, I agree because it would not be a problem at all if they were prepared, financially balanced, and got blessing from both parents' side. And for me, I would prefer getting married at a young age because some people say the highest happiness on earth is marriage. So I don't mind getting married at a young age to pursue happiness.
Okay,
For
thank
me.
you.
Now, I would like to interview religious official counselor to find out more detail about young marriage in Malaysia. So, let's go.
Why most of us do not consult first before getting married?
Okay, many couples, they consider marriage is a private and a personal matter, and they do not feel comfortable consulting someone professional or a counselor before getting married. Some of them also think that getting consultation from a professional counselor is not important, as they want to decide for their own selves.
Is marriage consultations not important?
Actually, I agree that every couple who wants to marry should have a consultation before getting married. But the perception of young couples nowadays is negative because they don't think a professional help is helpful, and also professional consultant could give fair and equal opinions on a marriage, and they would not be biased whether they could agree more to the man or the woman who's getting married.
Agree with this early marriage?
Honestly, I do not agree with young marriage and to start a family in a very young age. This is because many couples, they get into marriage in a rush and they do not plan ahead. But if someone or a new couple would come to me and say they want to get married, I will not disagree with them, but I will try to advise them and make sure they are making the right choice and it's not under pressure. And also, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia 2018, most young marriage can be considered from the age of 20 to 24, 25 and to 29. And many couples who get married in the age of 20 to 24 and also 25 to 29 get divorced when they reach the age 30 and 34. And also increase by 20% for men, and for women increase for 23.4%.
So what is your advice for society?
Okay, my advice for young couples who wants to get married, I would firstly say do not marry under pressure. Even if your family or friends is pressuring you into marriage, make sure you have a fixed goal and that you are open to the idea of sharing your life with a spouse. And make sure you are also financially stable, that you also have a career that is able to support you in the future. And also make sure you know your spouse and the person you are going to get married, their flaws and imperfections, because we never know. In the beginning everything is so good and nice, but as time goes humans might change, so make sure you choose your partner wisely. That's all.
Okay, thank you Puan Aiyana for the useful advice.
You're welcome.
So let's move to Puan Nadia to hear her opinion about young marriage. Hi Puan Nadia.
Hi.
So I want to ask your opinion. Is that young marriage make sense for you?
I think it depends on the individual. As we know, in marriage, responsibility is the main core, as well as being tolerant to others, especially to our partner and to our spouse. Okay. Therefore, if you're willing to commit the responsibility, I suggest you should go for it. But if you don't, you still have plenty of time, and you should think this matter thoroughly.
How about those who not get their parents' approval and decide to get married on other country?
I would say it is absolutely an appropriate decision to make, because to me, family is everything. The parents, they are matter, and of course, this is not just about you. And for that reason, we cannot ignore others' feelings just because we think we've been right, And as for that, it's the best way is to have slow talk with your parents first and see how their response is. Then you should prove to your parents that you can be a responsible and independent person.
Can you share your advice to that person?
The first thing is you need to figure out the challenge first. There's at least 5 main challenges that you have to aware before entering any marriage, and that will be emotional management in marriage, financial constraints, challenge in career building, communication conflicts within the family, and of course the loyalty to your spouse. These things absolutely will drag the happiness of your marriage if you don't handle it well. Therefore, we will need the main strategies to overcome the challenge, such as the religious appreciation, positive thinking, financial planning, and also the positive communication. As we know, communication is the key. So, however, the biggest thing is to ask yourself whether you are prepared to deal with all this, and of course to your partner, are they willing to do this with you? That's it.
What is the reason why did you marry at this young age?
Okay, the reason why I choose to marry at this young age, because I want to avoid myself from doing bad things. Because we as a Muslim, we have to keep the boundaries between a man and a woman. So I think that a marriage is the best way to avoid people from bad mouthing about us. since we are still student at the same university. Besides that, the obvious thing that urged us to get married while studying is because of our feelings towards each other. We are so madly in love with each other until we didn't think about what will happen in the future if we cannot manage the marriage.
If you don't mind, may I know whether you are happy with your marriage now?
Okay, to be honest, I don't know how to describe it because after marriage, I realized that we are too young since we are still actually not well prepared to face a marriage life. We were too deeply in love before until we didn't care about our responsibilities such as financial, emotional management, loyalty to each other, and etc. Actually, the first 5 months we were happy like other married couple, but after that, since we are still students, we realized that we have a lot of commitments such as assignments and group project. Those commitments were giving a big pressure for us, for both of us, until we are unable to control it.
So, what are your solutions regarding to your marriage problems?
I think that we still have a chance to fix it, but it takes time because this time we have to be more serious, more mature, and well prepared. I'm feeling very grateful for having a very supportive family and family-in-law because instead of stressing us to separate, they were giving us their support and guidance how to fix our marriage. So my advice to the young people out there who are still students like me and are currently in love with their partner, you guys have to think seriously before proceed your relationship to get married. Make sure that you guys are well prepared enough to face the reality after getting married.
In conclusion, teen marriage could happen to anyone depending on moral belief and if you are ready for any consequence afterwards. This means that teen marriage is a big step in a person's life and it is something young kids can just run into. This is important because young people need to know the different consequences on teen marriage. They need to know why teens shouldn't get married and how important it is to wait until you are really ready for such a big commitment. Also, they need to learn about the outcome of teen marriage because most of the time it was turned out in their favor. From this information, we can learn that many people do marry young. However, they might not be completely happy and satisfied with their decision because they are way too young to tell.